Hey folks, it's Shabagam here, and I've just pushed an update to buttons 0.3.1, and you can see what is new here at the top of the README if you just click on buttons in your list of plugins. But I wanted to take a minute and walk through some of the changes, some of the updates I've made. First up is the button block ID. So what is a button block ID? Well, it's just like a block ID, but you write button as the first element and then a dash and then anything you want as the ID. So what is this good for? Well, buttons can now inherit attributes from other buttons based on their ID. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to insert a button. You can insert a button just by typing it in like this, or by inserting a button from the command palette. But I'm just going to do it this way. And to inherit, you just type the ID and then the name of the ID after the button. And if I actually switch over to preview, you'll see, wow, there's actually two sweet buttons here. How did we get two? And if I look, this one's toggling the pin, and that one's also toggling the pin. So basically, by putting the ID of the button block ID in the second button, it takes on the commands, the type, the action, anything, the name, anything you have in there. But what if I wanted to name it differently? Name my other sweet button, sweet buttons. And look, it renames. So it inherits, but it still pins, right? It's still doing the toggle pin. So it inherits, but you can overwrite anything that it is inheriting. Look, it's blue. How sweet is that? It ain't easy being blue. So that's what button block ID does right now. It's going to be used in the future. The next thing I'm going to work on is sort of inline buttons, to be able to put buttons in line with your content and displaying sort of dashboards or grids of buttons. And so those will all use the button ID. To define it, again, you just define it like you would a block ID. My ID. The only thing you need to be aware of is that there should be a space between this, because if you do that, it doesn't actually doesn't work properly. What else can you do with the block ID? Well, it has one more feature right now, and that is it can be used in the remove command now. The remove argument can remove buttons based on their ID. So I have remove me here, and I've done remove me inside of an array, and if I switch back, this is the remover button, and it should be removing my sweet button, and bam, it's gone. Look at that. That's amazing. You can actually list multiple button IDs with this. Remove me too. So if I wanted to remove multiple buttons in one button press, I can, boom, they're gone. Look at that. Adios, amigos. So you can also target itself. So I gave this a button block ID of remover, and you can see here, if I do this and click it, they're all gone. How awesome is that? So now you can remove multiple buttons by giving remove an array. Remove true should still work with single buttons. So if you just want to remove the button that you're clicking, you can click that and the button goes. So those are the first two features with button block IDs. Expect more to come in the future. Next up is the replace argument, and replace now takes an array. It's changed from you used to specify a header. Now it takes an array with two values, and these are line numbers. So the first value is the line number you want to start replacing text with, 32, and the second value is the end line number you want to finish replacing text with, so 34. So in this case, clicking this button should remove this text. Now normally you would prepend a template up here, but I'm just, for examples purposes, going to do that, and boom, they're gone. So if you want to quickly replace some text in the template, you would say type prepend template action button example, and then I could say replace me. And now I want to replace just line 32. So start on line 32, end on line 32. Let's see if this works. Replace me, remove true. I had a little bit of a bug here, but I will take a look at that. It's probably because I defined 3232, and that's a case I have not tested yet. I also replaced it with a button. So that is a little bug. I will make sure that is fixed by the end of it, by the next update, which should come out tomorrow with some bug fixes. So the last thing I wanted to show is just a cleaner append and prepend. It now doesn't use the name, so your name doesn't need to be the first value. It could be any value on the list, but essentially doing this, it will now append the current time, my current time template. Oh yeah, look at that. So that is buttons update 0.3.0. The current one is 0.3.1. If you find bugs, please open issues in the GitHub, and I will do my best to fix them, including that little funky replace bug we found while recording the demo. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching.